Hello and welcome to my F1 25 driver career mode here today for part 16 for the Belgium Grand Prix, the final round before the summer break. That could be a title deciding round as Max Verstappen can win his 5th World Championship this weekend. So we come into qualifying now, which is of course sprint qualifying. This being our first sprint weekend of the career mode in Formula 1. Everyone loves a sprint weekend, don't they? As we come up to the line, we cross it, and that first lap is going to put us just inside the top 10. We're going to still be P10 though, as we went again and were completely blocked by Sonny Hayes, who just beat us to the win last time out at Silverstone. But we still improve and we go up to P6. Didn't hold us up too much in the end.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he will start from pole position. And Sonny Hayes completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Pierce, Hamilton, Max Verstappen, Brown, Russell, Behrman, Hulkenberg, and Fernando Alonso. Leclerc, Antonelli, Oscar Piastri, Bortoletto, Albon, Sainz, Lance Stroll, and Pierre Gasly. Dewey, Tsunoda, Hadjar, and Esteban Ocon lines up at the back of the grid.
So as the cars make their way onto the grid then, ahead of the first sprint of the year, it's Lando and Sonny Hayes on the front row. Apex jumping up the order the last couple of races. They've brought a big upgrade back in Canada and it's working for them. But we're starting P6. Those at the back find their grid spots. And now we can wait for those 5 red lights. Here at Spa, we're racing and we've got a fairly decent start. We've already got one car there. That is the Red Bull nearly, but we've had to back out of it and we've lost that position. Now trying to go round the outside now at La Source. We've had a small snap of oversteer. Now that may cost us going down the hill and towards Rouge. Over the top of Radion we go. We're still P6. Sonny Hayes looked like he may have just taken the lead there as we all flowed through. Now have we got a good run here on the Red Bull of Max Verstappen, going for title number 5 this weekend, and around the outside of the Dutchman, and we're going to have the inside line. There's nearly contact. Max is going to have the inside line though for the next corner, and he just keeps us behind. There's pretty much a home Grand Prix for him as well. We're not going to Zandvoort this season. As now on to lap 3, we're getting closer and closer into La Source. We're going for the dive bomb. There's contact between us and Max. Fireworks as he had a bit of contact with the front wing. He thought about trying to go side by side of us through Rouge. He thought better of it, but now as we head towards the Kemmel Straight, Max is going to have us back here. We're going to be a bit of a sitting duck now, as here he goes to the outside, but he's a little bit too far back here as we go into the chicane. We've had a big snap of oversteer, a big snap of understeer. Now Max is going to try and drive clean round the outside of us, and he's got his nose ahead there. And now round the long right-hander, we're trying to keep it up the inside, but Max has completely done us around the outside there. Fair play, what a move. And now we were kind of stuck in a bit of a DRS train. We could never get close enough again to have another chance at getting Max back for that P5. Still P6, right where we started. But now we skip on to the end of the sprint. It's going to be Lando Norris who's going to win it. We couldn't get Max and Lewis Hamilton in the end, so we're going to have to settle for where we started, and we're going to finish the sprint P6. So that's been your sprint race, and won by Lando Norris. The top 6 finish how they started. Lando, Sonny Hayes and Joshua Pearce. Good day for Apex. Double podium on the sprint. Lewis Hamilton P4, Max P5, and we are P6. Should couldn't get close enough to re-overtake the Red Bull, but he's in a great position now for his 5th world title as we just beat Leclerc. And then down at the back, everyone finished, so Jack Doohan was last, just behind our teammate Hadjar. So we come into qualifying now for the real thing. The sunny skies of the sprint have been replaced by cloudy skies and a very slippery track, as we are on inters, but it's not raining, it's just very slippery out here. And our first lap is going to put us P4, but by the end of the session we've dropped all the way down to the back because the softs are very much the way to go now. As we come into the bus stop chicane, we've found 7 seconds near enough, and we're going to come up to the line, we're going to cross it, and we're going to start on the front row.
It's the Belgian Grand Prix, the site of the maiden victory of the Jordan team in 1998, the venue that Michael Schumacher made his debut in Formula One. There is so much history here amongst the beautiful nature. We are about to go racing through the Ardennes forest, 4.3 miles of long straights, fast corners and huge elevation changes. Turn 1 at La Source moves straight into Eau Rouge, eventually climbing into Radion. They are corner names to get the heart pumping. It's old school, and we adore it. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Sonny Hayes lines up on pole position, and Brown completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Albon, Leclerc, Lando Norris, and Piastri, Russell, Gasly, Verstappen and Jack Doohan, Sainz, Antonelli, Esteban Ocon and Alonso, Hamilton, Hadjar, Yuki Tsunoda and Joshua Pearce, Hülkenberg, Stroll, Behrman and Gabriel Bortoleto completes the grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. We welcome to the commentary box Anthony Davidson. I'm Alex Jakes. We're both looking forward to a really intriguing race today. Well, it's an excellent sprint yesterday, but we're back to the usual format now. How do they continue what they started?
Absolutely. You know, they're at one with their car. You could see that in the sprint. That's why they were successful there. And you've got to carry that through into this race today. And in a way, we've had a snapshot as well of what this driver's capable of.
So as we make our way now onto the grid, head of the Belgian Grand Prix, it's been a great weekend for Sonny Hayes. Second in the sprint, pole here for the real thing, and we're on the front row. Can we continue our battle from last time out at Silverstone? It's looking like a 2-stop race here today. It's looking very close between the 1 and the 2. We're going to be 2-stopping, going medium, hard, medium. But what will happen then as the 5 red lights come on here at Spa? It's lights out and away we go here at Spa, and we've got a okay start. Sonny Hayes has got us though. As we head in towards La Source, we're going to go for a lunge down the inside. We can't quite get the exit though. Sonny Hayes keeps us behind. He leads the race. In the background there is the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, who's just beat the Williams there, and now up through Eau Rouge and Radion. Here we go. We're going to have a good run here on the Apex driver. We're going to swap in the dummy, fake to the inside, go round the outside. Now it's a drag race down the Kemmel Straight, and we're going to have him around the outside. It's a lovely move there with pulled, and for the second race weekend in a row, we lead a Grand Prix in Formula One. This time though, early on, it's going to be hard to hang on to it, as we're on to lap 3 now, going through Blanchimont, and Hayes tried to get up the inside of us. He's had to lift, and that's allowed Charles Leclerc to try and do a Max Verstappen move, go all the way around the outside at Blanchimont, but he had to back out of it. But now he's up the inside, going through the bus stop chicane, trying to go around the outside at the second phase. Can the Ferrari get the exit? Yes, he can. Sonny Hayes is down to P3, but he's still there on the outside going into La Source, but he's had to back out of that one. But Leclerc now sitting pretty in P2. Can he win this Grand Prix? As he's getting closer and closer to the back of us, as we really chop him off there, he has to lift. Where's Sonny Hayes? He's too far back to have another go. So we continue to lead then this Belgian Grand Prix, but we are very much under pressure now from the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, as now we have a big moment there, and we've nearly made contact with the Ferrari, and now we're going to be side by side, are we, through there, as we're going to have him back through Blanchimont we go, try and keep it pinned around the outside. Can we do it? Leclerc tries to squeeze us, we're still there, and now we're going to have the inside line for the bus stop chicane, try and be later on the brakes, but Charles isn't giving up. He's kept it pinned around the outside, up the inside. Now it's a drag race towards Les Sources. We've got him, but Leclerc's got the DRS, and that's going to pull him back in front of us, and we've gone a bit deep, and Charles is going to cut us back the dummy there, but now it's the run down to Eau Rouge. Leclerc just gets his nose ahead. Are we going to go side by side through Eau Rouge? Yes, we are. We're just going to keep our foot in, but Leclerc just has his nose ahead. Leclerc's got us, and now Sonny Hayes is going to have us back here, and now we're heading down, and the McLaren is getting involved. We're battling. It's a four-way battle for the lead, and we're going to try and go back down the inside. Leclerc has lost out. Sonny Hayes retakes the lead, and Leclerc has had a moment there, been caught out by the McLaren and really had to lift there, as now Sonny Hayes is gone, and we are left defending the McLaren of Lando Norris, who's come from absolutely nowhere in this race. We're side by side through the chicane, and Lando gets the job done on us as Leclerc re-overtakes the Mercedes of George Russell, and now we were starting to drop. We don't have the pace of these cars around us. Really, we're always going to go backwards. As soon as these were overtaking us, they were gone. Leclerc finally this time does get the job done on us. Behind us now is George Russell, and really we've got one of the worst cars on the grid. The car has no need to be here, but we managed to hold off George for quite a while, and at the end of lap 7 we are going to come into the pits to make our first stop of the day. We're going to be going on to the hard tyres, so give us more of an option in a way. If the tyres are still alive, maybe we can continue and push for the 1, but as things stand, it is going to be a 1-stopper, a 2-stopper in this race, as Leclerc is just in front of us still, as now we've come through the first corner and beaten out there by an Alpine, and now we're going to be drag racing the other Mercedes of Kimi Antonelli down through Eau Rouge. He's going to have a good run on us here. He's going to have to get out the way of his teammate, surely, at some point. And now here comes Antonelli. He's getting closer and closer to the back of us, but he had to back out of it, as this is Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin, slowing down and pulling over at Pouon to retire from the race. Not like it's going to make much difference anyway, and that's a Mercedes engine that has very much gone, and we couldn't pull away from Antonelli. The pace just wasn't really here in the race, and look at Mercedes there, George Russell pulling alongside us, and we've run a bit wide there. Can we keep George behind? He's got us a bit of shake and bake there between the two Mercedes, and George has gone, and now we're left under pressure by Kimi Antonelli. We weren't even fighting these drivers in the opening stage of the race. We should be pulling away from them. We're not in their race, but we are, because we just haven't got the pace today, as Lewis Hamilton gets past his Mercedes replacement Antonelli there, who's also now coming under pressure from the heart of Esteban Ocon as we head down towards Eau Rouge. Is either of them going to back out? Antonelli has to back out. He's not fighting that one for Eau Rouge. But as now we're coming under pressure by the other Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton, we're going to have to duck into his slipstream and try and get him back down the inside, but that Ferrari is too quick for us, and we're going to have to back out of it and live to fight another day. One day we may be able to fight a Ferrari, but not at the minute. And now we're left under pressure by Esteban Ocon, who's pulled away from the Mercedes, and Ocon there, who we really should be battling. We've just got no chance here. We're just dropping like a stone, and we started on the front row in this race, and we're currently P10 as now we get towards the second round of stops, and we're coming under pressure from Oscar Piastri as we try and hold it round the outside of the source, but it's a great exit there by Piastri. As now we head down the hill, we're still side by side. Are we going to keep it pinned? Yes, we are. We're going to keep it pinned around the outside of Rouge. Keep the place from Piastri, but it's only going to be temporary, as now we're going to be double teamed as both of them have the DRS on us. We're 3 wide. Piastri's going to back out, but Piers is going to have a go on us here. We keep both of them behind somehow there. As now we head towards the bus stop chicane. Piers is at the inside of us. Is he going to go for it? No, he backs out of it, but he's being dumped round the outside by the McLaren of Piastri. Can Piastri get the exit? It's not the best of camera angles here to see. They're both side by side. Piastri on the outside, Piers on the inside. Can Piastri get the exit out of La Source as we come out side by side with those pitting in front of us? And championship contender Max Verstappen has come out slap bang in the middle of this pack as they go side by side through Rouge, and Piastri gets a job done on Piers, but Piers isn't having any of it, and he's going to get him back here, and now they're both going to have a go at us. Look at cars absolutely everywhere. We're 3 wide. Piastri finds a way through. We somehow keep the car on the track. We give Piers the elbow, and now Max Verstappen is going to go sailing around the outside of the Apex driver and gets the job done on the Apex. Great move there as Piers is holding up his teammate. He's fighting towards the front here, and now we're all being covered all over the back of by Max Verstappen, but we're going to get out of his way. We're not going to fight him like we tried in the sprint race, and we come into the pits for our second stop of the day. The hard tyres couldn't really go to the end, I don't think. They were starting to struggle a bit, and just look at the train behind us, a proper trolley train, but those hard tyres will go off. The medium tyres will go back on. It's a slow stop as we have to wait for those boxing to get out of the way. We've lost out to Piastri still, Piers as well, but we're still going to come out in a bit of a pack here. On these mediums, can we start to go forward again? And the answer was no, as we continue to fall back, and now we're battling Nico Hülkenberg in the Sauber, and now we're coming under pressure from the Williams of Sainz. We're going to be 3 wide into the chicane. Hülkenberg backs out of it. We somehow keep the place from both of them, and now Sainz is trying to go round the outside of the Sauber, but Sainz has to back out. Sonoda is in this train front. We look at the state of the train as now the final lap of what's been a fairly eventful Grand Prix, and through goes the Sauber of Hülkenberg, but we're going to try and swap in the dummy as we're going to try and fend off Sainz here around the outside. We keep Sainz behind. We have lost out to Hülkenberg though. We tried to get him back at the inside, but we were boxed in by the Williams. But up front, Lando Norris, no such issues. He got through the big pack that we were fighting early on, and he's going to make it a double here with the sprint race. He wins in Belgium. Sonny Hayes is going to come home for P2, and Max Verstappen for P3 means he is a 5-time champion of the world, as now we come into the final corner trying to hold off the Williams of Sainz, and we will do that. And after starting on the front row, it's going to be a pretty poor P13.
And with that, another year of Formula One draws to a close, and a new World Drivers' Champion is declared. Another entry added to that prestigious list of the sport's most incredible drivers. What a way to head to victory! Lando Norris takes the win!
They had to be decisive with their overtaking today as they worked their way through the field. And those kind of race victories are so enjoyable because it's not just like winning from the front. They really had to work for it today.
And the top 3 venturing onto the podium to begin the celebrations. And Lando Norris holds the trophy aloft.
So that's been then your Belgium Grand Prix, won by Lando Norris. Fastest lap as well, don't get a point for that anymore. Sonny Hayes held on for P2, he couldn't convert the pole into a win, and Max Verstappen from P9 climbs onto the podium to achieve number 5, a 5-time champion of the world. Charles Leclerc comes home for P4. Lewis Hamilton rounds out the top 5. We finish in a pretty miserable P13 today. Lance Stroll was the only retirement today. That was fairly early on in the Grand Prix. That Mercedes engine going bang in the back of the Aston. So it was Gabriel Bortoleto who was the final finisher on the road today, just behind our teammate Isaac Hadjar. In terms of the drivers, there's your gap for Max Verstappen, 68 points. With just 2 races to go, including the sprint race as well in Brazil. That run at the start of the season when he won 5 out of 5 won him that championship. And then Lando Norris has moved up into P2 just ahead of Charles Leclerc. Tsunoda is P4 and Lewis Hamilton is P5, and we've been jumped then by Sonny Hayes in the championship. We are down to P8. And then down at the back there's still multiple drivers still yet to score, and it's Bortoleto who is bottom of the pile. So in terms of the constructors, Red Bull can wrap that up next time out at Monza. They're now 75 points ahead of Ferrari. McLaren have eaten into Ferrari this weekend. Mercedes are P4. Apex, now that good result moves them up into P5, means that they have jumped us and we're down to P6. And then there's still 2 teams still yet to score, that's Sauber and Alpine. So that's been then your Belgian Grand Prix race weekend. Next time though, we go to another legendary track, the fastest one on the calendar at the legendary Monza, and I'll see you then. Goodbye.